Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mowing the Lawn podcast. I'm here with my co-host and good buddy, Mo.
And I'm here with my equally good buddy, Owen,
And together we're going to mow the lawn.
for the Mowing the Lawn podcast. We're recording this on a Sunday afternoon with a couple of beers. A nice sunny day.
Yeah, nice hot day, so it's good to be indoors. We're going to a soccer game later today. Crystal Palace v. Sevilla. Any quick thoughts on the game, Mo?
Personally, I'm interested in what the mowing pattern on the pitch will be. I know it's going to be at Comerica Park, which has its distinct MLB-style mowing pattern. I'm curious what they'll do and bring out for the soccer game.
Yeah, I'm curious just how they fit a soccer field into a baseball stadium.
Will it be regulation size?
I've been mowing it over in my head, and I just can't put it together. Those two shapes, they don't fit together, but I guess we'll see. Any score prediction lines for the day?
I think it's going to be a good 0-0. Don't believe they're going to extra time or penalty kicks. I think it fits with the Comerica Park atmosphere for there to be a disappointment today.
Yeah, I've been watching a couple other the friendlies over the summer, and they've been kind of high scoring. It's just because I don't think anyone likes to play defense in the friendlies and really stick their ankle out too much. So I'm hoping for just a wallop, like a 7-5.
Yeah, I think
Just chuck it fest, you know.
that's what we can hope for.
Yeah, we're going
Good.
with a good friend of ours. His name is Caleb. He's a big Crystal Palace fan. He also likes the football team.
Yes.
So hopefully he'll add a little bit of excitement.
Yeah,
to
hopefully he gets more into the soccer team, Crystal Palace, than the latter in this game.
I'm curious what Detroiters are going to split into between Sevilla and Crystal Palace.
I think most of them are going to be fans of neither. They're just going to be fans of the sports. I think we'll see a lot of Man United jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of Bayern jerseys, probably.
Yeah, for you viewers that can't see us right now, I'm currently wearing a West Ham United jersey.
And I'm wearing a Stego Soccer Club jersey that I found at a Salvation Army.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also going to wear the old English D just so that everyone is reminded of what stadium they're in, just in case anyone forgot. But yeah, I think it'll be a nice, fun fest. I've never really seen soccer at this level played, even though it's just a friendly, so that'll be pretty cool. For
Yeah,
me.
it'll certainly be exciting, and I'm certain the stadium will be quite full, and it'll be nice to, it'll be more full than any Tigers game I've been to.
Yeah,
It'll be nice to see the community around soccer in Metro Detroit, for sure.
Yeah. Well, since this is the Mowing the Lawn podcast, we like to just kick it off with some lawn caring tips and stories. Mine isn't really a tip, it's more of a story, but when I was growing up, my dad had a piece of shit lawnmower that would always crap out after about 30 or 40 minutes. And I never ever wanted him to get it fixed because it was a good excuse to just give up halfway through the mowing cycle and take another break in between, change the shirt from all the sweat, and recollect your thoughts, get the next podcast going. But yeah, it only really worked if you went really, really slowly or you lifted it up every couple
And
paces.
didn't get a full
Yeah.
cut, sort of with hair clippers putting on the 5 guard.
Yeah, kind of like
thing.
that.
Yeah.
My dad's method was to just take half passes instead of full passes, so the blades would only hit half the grass at a time.
Yeah.
And he was psychotic for that because he would take literally twice as long to mow the grass. But some men are just built differently, I guess.
And there's something to be said about being out on the lawn, mowing.
Yeah.
Mower's loud, can't listen to music. You're just in there with your thoughts outside, going slow because that's how it's done.
Yeah. Some thoughts are so loud that not even the mower can block them out.
Exactly. And that's the point of this podcast.
You got any advice or stories?
I do. It's less of advice and more of just don't use a leaf blower because you're not really taking care of the leaves. You're just moving them somewhere else. And leaf blowers, the way their engines are built, the emissions they have is equivalent to driving a truck from Maine to the Mississippi River, just using it for an hour. So it's terrible for the environment, doesn't really do anything, and it's loud and disruptive. So just take a rake or a broom and take care of your leaves like an adult.
Did you just have that fact sitting in your pocket this whole time, or did you research that for the pod?
I made it up. It's something like that, though.
Well, I won't fact check you for anything else on this podcast.
No, as you shouldn't.
Yeah, I mostly remember leaf blowers as people that would blow them like directly into the street, and then just like say it's not my problem anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I can't imagine it clumps up very well to put them in a bag.
Yeah, because you're using pressurized air to move it around. You can't get into a neat pile like you can with a rake or a broom.
Well, as the old saying goes, men either use a leaf blower or love their wives. It's never both.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to do both, really.
Oh, that's true. All right, why don't we get into today's topic for the pod? We're talking about killing.
Yeah, execution.
Yeah, so it's a killer first episode. One certainly to die for.
Yeah, we'll put this episode title in all caps for you. All capital letters.
For capital punishment.
In case you didn't get it.
So what we're doing is we've done a little bit of research into all the different execution styles over the course of human history. And we're doing a bit of a draft. So we're each going to pick 10 execution methods. Starting, the top picks will be the ones we want the most. And we'll just work our way down. Shout out to Michigan. First state in the Union to ban execution.
Oh, well done.
1847.
Wow.
It's the first English-speaking community also to ban execution.
Something to be proud about.
Something to be proud of. Something to just stare at that flag that I can't think of right now because it's too goddamn complicated, but...
And boring at the same time, if that's possible.
Yeah, just a whole lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just throw in a viewer discretion because this is execution, so just be ready for that. But we're still going to keep things light and loose for you.
For sure. This is just a little Sunday podcast in between mowing the lawn, so we're not pretending to have a biology degree or a law degree or anything. We're just here talking about the things you would think about.
Yeah. For the viewers home that don't get that reference, Mo actually has a biology degree and a law degree, and he's not going to use them against me, he promised.
Yeah. I also did just look it up, and the stats for leaf blowers is a gas-powered leaf blower emits an amount of carbon in 1 hour equal to driving a Toyota Camry over 2,000 kilometers. So...
For our American viewers, that's how long?
That's like a little over...
4,000 miles?
It'll be the other way.
A little under 4,000?
A little over 1,000 miles.
Okay.
Because kilometers are longer than a mile. Either way, to do that in an hour with just the thing you're holding in your hand to move leaves from one place to another, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just a tip.
Thanks for that. All right, so we're going to flip a coin for first pick, and then we're going to get this thing going. Mo, heads or tails?
Take tails.
It is heads. So I will take the first pick. And I'd like to introduce the first pick in a story, if you will.
Please do.
So this is the story of Mr. Triboulet. He was a court jester. And so there was like a big party with the French king and a bunch of nobles. And the wine's flowing. So Mr. Triboulet decides to smack the king on the ass because he thought it'd be really funny. So he does, gives him a big smack. All the nobles laugh. And the king says, okay, you can't just like do that in front of all my friends.
Yeah.
And like disrespect me, so I'm going to put you to death. And he's like, no, it was just a joke. Like everyone found it funny.
Yeah.
Like this is really light. And the king like calms down and says like, okay, I won't put you to death. And then the jester can't resist, so he says, yeah, I meant to slap the queen's ass, obviously. Like,
he doubled down.
He doubled down on it. And so the king rechanged his mind and says, like, all right, I'm putting you back to death. So he, like a week goes by, and he's in his jail cell, and the king visits him, and he like says some other joke that wasn't on the Wikipedia page, but he calms him down again, and the king says, all right, I'll just let you pick how you want to die. And Mr. Triboulet says, old age. So that's my first pick of the draft. Old age.
Old age.
I don't know if that counts, but at least one person was sentenced to it. So
well, technically, we're all sentenced to it. If you think about it.
If you think about it. So why pick something horrible when you can pick something that we're already sentenced to?
Fair enough. So what would happen if you didn't die of old age? Like you got in a terrible accident, hypothetically.
I think they like keep you in a jail cell though. They like make sure you.
Oh, that you just be there.
Yeah.
Right until old age.
Yeah.
Technically on death row.
Yeah.
Okay. For my first pick, I'm gonna go with the classic. Something that is practical. In the olden times, it was a bit of a spectacle. It's something that is a bit of a classic, vintage, if you would say. It was first written record of it was in Homer's Odyssey, and I'm gonna go with hanging.
That is a heavy first pick.
It's a heavy first pick, but I feel like you gotta go with the classic. It's there for a reason. All you need is a rope and one place that is higher up than another place. Mm-hmm. Pretty simple to do.
Yeah. Okay. So, in theory, like the rope should just like snap your neck and then you die.
In theory,
pretty instantly. But like in the movies, sometimes they're like really struggling and like.
And sometimes you just die of strangulation.
Okay.
And I think that's the risk. That's part of the process. You know.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
A bold first pick with so many good options on the board. But who says you have to listen to your scouting department? You can just make picks willy-nilly.
Exactly, and I feel like there's some safe picks, but you gotta take a risk, and you gotta... Another classic, like some people don't ride a motorcycle with a helmet, you know? Like, not the safest, not ideal, but, you know, like the thrill, what it represents, means a lot. And that's why I'm going with hanging.
Don't let anyone tell you that Mo is not a man of tradition. In fact, Mo, I think you should move to New Hampshire, because that's the only state left in the Union that still hangs people.
Yeah, if there wasn't enough dry meat in New Hampshire.
You could run a leaf blower, you could drive all the way to New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, I could. A lot of leaves there, I've heard.
A lot of leaves there. Alright, well, I feel much better about this pick. I thought this one would be controversial, but with my second pick, I'm going to go with firing squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just put me up against the wall, pop goes the weasel, we're done. And the main reason I picked this is because, like, in the movies and other historical events, I feel like it's usually like a political thing, and like the judge sentences you, and you don't go to like death row and wait for it to happen. Like the judge sentences you, and then you just like turn around the corner, put a blindfold on, and then like a bunch of people shoot you. So like I think that's really the ideal part of it, is like how like private and quick it is.
You don't have
like,
time to let it ruminate.
Yeah, like okay, like other things you could live for like another week or month, but it's not really living, because you're like in the back of your mind you're like thinking about dying.
It's almost worse than death.
It's almost worse than death. But like this way, just back around the wall. A lot of people doing it, so no one has to feel guilty, conscious going. Because,
would you prefer it that way? Because I've heard there's ways where they put blanks in a certain number of soldiers' weapons, and then actual bullets in other ones, so none of them actually know who did it. It's the ambiguity that protects their mental state.
I don't need to ruin other people's lives. By the way, firing squad legal in Mississippi, Utah, South Carolina, and Idaho, which I thought was like no way true.
No way. When was the last time? Do you know?
I don't know the last time, but
2010?
2010? Holy cow.
Oh my god. Ronnie Lee Gardner in Utah must have said something bad about the Mormies.
Must have slapped the Mormon queen on the ass or something.
Or bought alcohol on a Sunday.
No, that's South Carolina.
I think it's Utah as well.
Oh, okay.
Or can you even buy alcohol at all? I don't know. Utah is a wild world.
All right, Mo, you're back on the clock.
Okay, I went with something a little thrilling, a little sexy, if you will, for my first pick. So I'm going to go for the safest, probably most boring pick for my second one. And that's going to be lethal injection. You're just sitting in a chair, you don't really do much. The person administering it is trained, doctoral, professional, and it's a quick, painless death, supposedly.
Well, that's the thing. So lethal injection was number 4 on my board. And the reason why I didn't have it so high, even though it's like supposedly like the most humane, is 1, it's done by the U.S. government, so like I don't trust them. And 2, I feel like there's not enough documentation on like what people actually experience. It's like kind of a mystery going into it, which could be a positive thing if you want to like unravel the mystery for yourself.
That's true.
It could actually be horrible, and just like no one lives long enough for explains.
But that could also be said about any of these techniques on here, where like You don't know what happens when you die, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And as someone that's been put under anesthesia quite a few times, and that's been a lovely experience every time I've gone under. So I feel like can't be that much worse than that.
Okay, well, our list, Mo, I'm learning a lot about you from this whole experience.
It's the point of this, isn't it?
Okay, so on the board I have old age and firing squad to Mo's hanging and lethal injection. So far, I've been able to go 1, 2, 3 with all of my picks. Top 3 picks on the board. I think I'm crushing this draft. I'm going blowing from a gun. I didn't know about this one until I researched it.
Didn't either.
Very similar to firing squad, but just amplify it a wee bit. They chain you in front of a cannon and just let her rip. I feel like
it's a lot of force going through a body. That one.
Yeah, I feel like I'd hope that I just die instantly, but just the spectacle alone is enough to make me pick that.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not taking into consideration the mess of any of this because we'll be dead.
Yeah, who cares?
It doesn't matter. But the mess from that has to be pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
Blunt force trauma from a cannon.
At close range.
At close range.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably quite a spray.
Easy pickup for me.
Since you bragged about it, being able to go 1 through 3, I will also say that I'm also going to go 1 through 3 for my 3 picks. I'm going to go, for my 3rd pick, I'm going to take seppuku, which is the Japanese execution style where self-death, you stab yourself in the stomach with a knife, and then an assistant will then immediately execute you through beheading.
Oh my god. That cannot be your 3rd pick.
It's my 3rd pick because, obviously, as a process, horrific. It'll be over quick, as opposed to harakiri, which is without the assistant executioner behind you, so you bleed out, and that's how you die. Whereas seppuku, you make an incision, and then you're immediately beheaded. And the reason I choose it is because it's for honor. In ancient Japan, the family would be pardoned if you were to execute yourself in this manner. So it's to ensure that the people you care about are doing well after you pass away.
Mo, you're not Japanese, are you?
No. I'm also not in New Hampshire where hanging is a thing.
That's true. I guess the honor can carry over no matter what cultural background you have.
This is fictitious, I'm hoping.
Yeah, seppuku was not even on my board. And it was 28 long. All right.
I think it's I think it's a cool way to go.
I'll give you that. It's certainly unique.
I feel like if I get to a point where I have to commit seppuku, I'll have a Wikipedia page, and if people in the future are going through this, cause of death seppuku, can't go wrong with that.
That's your pick. I don't think anyone should have to make it but you. All right.
True.
For my number 4 pick, I'm going to a similar pick to Mo, except mine is much less bad. It's just the big axe execution where they just put your head on a slab, axe up, axe down, Skyrim style, except the big dragon doesn't come to save you.
Yeah, you just die.
I feel like it's your last pick, but you don't have to stab yourself in the stomach beforehand.
But it's not on your own hands. It's someone else killing you,
It's someone else killing you. Just stabbed yourself in the stomach.
You got the ball rolling. You're the first domino to fall. For your last moments, that's what you want.
Yeah. I mean, this is my pick. I think it's pretty simple.
For this, do you think the bigger axe, the better? Would you say?
Yeah, anything to make the lights go out faster. I think.
And also for a wow factor.
Yeah, ideally it should be so big that 2 people have to lift it up.
You want that thud to resonate. Yeah. I respect that pick.
By the way, do you spell axe A-X or A-X-E?
A-X-E out of respect for the body spray.
All right, 5th pick is our 4th pick, my bad. On you.
So for my 4th pick, it's also going to go off of your big axe. I'm going to go with guillotine. Or guillotine. It's similar beheadment of a blade traveling fast, but this one involves a little more mechanical knowledge, a little bit of ingenuity in the engineering field to allow a blade to fall at that speed with such precision to chop your head off. I think that would be a pretty cool way to go. Also, the symbolism, what it represents with the French
Yeah, and you're probably royal if they are
Exactly.
guillotining you.
Your face falls in a basket, like
Yeah.
picnic, basically.
I was also considering guillotine for my previous pick, but I feel like whenever you see pictures of people, like paintings obviously, but like paintings of people getting guillotined, it's like a massive crowd. Like they bring you out in a carriage, they like say who you are and why you need to die, and it's like this whole big ceremony. And like just put me against the wall and pop goes the weasel, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't need all the showmanship just to end my life.
Yeah, I respect that. And like, yeah, you ideally would want to get it over real quick. But also, misery loves company. You want other people to be involved in it. I feel like it'll dilute the horrors and the tragedy of it all if you have, a big crowd to share it with.
Yeah, I can definitely respect that call. For my next pick, and by the way, just for the audience, this is officially the point in my draft board where the picks start getting horrifying. These are no longer quick and painless deaths. These are like, there's quite a bit to them. So my next one is falling, which was one that was practiced in the ancient Roman days. It was for people that were traitors and murderers, and also just people that were prisoners of war, which is kind of bad too. But they had a like cliff facing that they would take you to, and then just like push you off one by one. They would usually do it in mass groups, where they just like push them all.
Like lemmings.
Yeah, kind of like lemmings, except there's no honor behind it, unlike the best lemmings.
Yeah.
There was someone waiting below that if you did survive, they'd like break your skull in with a hammer.
That's kind of them, yeah.
It is, but like I like my executions to work the first time.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be a little pretentious.
But I feel like, I guess it depends on the cliff, like if it's in a mountainous region or not.
Yeah.
Somewhere with big structures. Like if it's in Kansas, I'm put to death by falling, not going to be excited about that.
No, it's probably the worst thing about being in Kansas. Or the best thing, I should say.
Yeah. Would you say there would be a bit of a thrill in falling to your death?
Oh yeah, that was definitely calculated.
Mhm.
It's like a once in a lifetime experience to fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
With like out the little like thing in the back of your head. You've got like a parachute, or you'll be just fine.
Yeah, it's like base jumping, but you're not a coward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And also, you're not choosing to do it either.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, pick number 6 is on you, Mo.
Similar to my guillotine pick, with the spectacle of it all, with the crowd being there.
Jesus Christ.
Some could say that it's a little passive, a guillotine crowd. They're just watching, they're not doing anything. So that's why for my 6th pick, I'm going with stoning.
Oh.
It's a group effort. Everyone's involved. I feel like that's really gratifying and healing for the community, to be able to put someone that has wronged them and execute them in such a way where they all participate, all get their grievances out. I feel like if I were to do something so wrong as a stoning, that would require a stoning, I feel like I would respect that.
Yeah.
And take the pain of the community to the death.
Yeah, I do like that, like, if someone is going to be put to death, and by the way, I don't believe in capital punishment, but I believe that if you are convicted of and you require capital punishment, it should be something so bad that literally everyone in that town wants to kill you.
Right.
And so it is like that, like you were saying, that gratifying experience of like literally everyone in that village gets a hand in removing you. Basically, the reason why I didn't have stoning as high up on my board is just like the random nature of it. Like you could die quickly, you could die slowly.
True.
Like,
Yeah, you don't know how good they are. Did they play baseball growing up? Did they play like wall ball?
Are they big stones? Are they little stones?
Yeah, is it like little pebbles? We don't know. But yeah, I feel like, in case it wasn't clear, I'm also against capital punishment. But yeah, I feel like for capital punishment, you have to be able to, the person being executed would really feel the pain and the trauma that it's caused the community if they were to be stoned.
Yeah. Do you think if like the family that was wrong, do they get like first row seats? They can like really get you.
Yeah, I think they probably get like a ceremonious like first stone.
Yeah, the particularly big ones.
Yeah, a big one, or maybe a sharp one, or maybe just one that they're comfortable with. Like the U.S. designed grenades to be like the same weight as a baseball, so like all the youths would be able to throw it well. I feel like a family should be able to customize their rock to be thrown at whoever has wronged them.
No, I agree. So my next pick is another one I didn't learn about until I started researching for the pod, and that one is death by elephant crushing. So basically, what happens is they train elephants to like stand up on certain platforms when they see them, like they get treats or something, and then every once in a while they like put your head against that platform, and then they bring the elephant and they just like steps on your head. I think it's cruel to force elephants to do that. I'm
Because
thinking
an elephant never forgets.
Yeah, an
Famously.
Famously, I think it is cruel to force an elephant to do that. I'm thinking purely selfishly when I pick this form of execution, and I think you died pretty quickly if an elephant stepped on your head.
And there's something to be said about the elephant not being able to fully grasp the weight of what it's doing.
Yeah.
To know that you're just like dying from just an animal doing its thing, trying to get a treat.
Yeah.
You know, there's some innocence and a positive swing you can take on that. So for my 7th pick, I'm going to go with slow cutting, also known as death by 1,000 cuts.
Oh my God, no. That was actually my last pick out of all 28.
Did you ranked all 28 of yours?
I ranked all 28.
And slow cutting was the worst?
Was 28th out of 28.
Is that because it's the opposite of your firing squad?
I guess
where
so.
It's just a lot longer?
Yeah.
I feel like for this one, it would be brutal. They cut your eyes out first, so then you can't see the rest of the torture. They cut off smaller bits. They cut off your nose. They cut off your ear. Then they go for bigger, like, pieces of the thigh and such. Be gruesome, but I think there's a certain amount of respect and, like, an artisanal aspect of this execution style. It's someone that's been trained in the field, knows what they're doing. Professional precision, calculated. Like, it would suck, but you have a respect for your killer. It would take days, even sometimes weeks, but
sometimes
I think
weeks.
You're in a position where you're not gonna live anyways. Might as well go the artsy way.
Well, you have 3 picks worse than this. Oh goodness! All right, so how was that? What culture did slow cutting? Was it Japan?
I think it was China. Used in China in the early 1st century. Slow slicing, ling qi in Chinese. Slow process of lingering death.
Okay, well on that note, my next pick is another classic. This one is more of the American variety, but I'm just going for the electric chair.
Ooh.
I'm surprised it's still on the board. I thought I would have gotten picked way before this, but still legal in Alabama, Florida, Kansas, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And yeah,
that's a lot of states.
That is a lot of states.
Yeah.
They strap you in, they put the metal bowl on your head. I think that's my least favorite part. I think as soon as they put the metal bowl on my head, I'm gonna poop my pants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why this one is so low on my personal list, is because you're getting strapped into a chair. It's almost like the dentist, you know.
Almost
as bad as a dentist, I'll tell you what. And also, like, you'll immediately go into cardiac arrest, but
yeah,
I feel like there's a point there where you're in a lot of physical pain, personal pain. And then just sitting in that chair strapped and waiting for it to happen, I feel like, is too much for me. I'd rather be bleeding out after being cut 1,000 times.
Oh, we can't even finish the sentence. All right, we're running low on the quote-unquote good ones.
Yeah.
What's your next pick, Mo?
For my next pick, I'm going to put Colosseum.
Colosseum.
The Colosseum. I feel like it was a little bit glorified by the movie Gladiator, where you have the chance to fight and show off your athletic prowess, your cunning ability as a fighter, and I think that's not true. But also, your death is implied to be in your own hands. You have like that false sense of hope, and I feel like that does a lot when you're on the brink of death. And you do have the small, as it may be, chance of surviving and fighting your way out of being put to death. And I feel like as a spectacle, as a amount of control you have as the executee, I feel like this isn't the worst pick.
Yeah, I agree with you on the small chance of survival. This is a non-visual media, so I'll just fill in the viewers. Neither of us are surviving a gladiatorial encounter. You would take one look at us and put all your money on the Gladiator. I was also considering this one above electric chair, but I feel like, again, with stoning, it's just too chaotic because you don't know how you're going to die. Like, they could literally just, like, punch your skull in, which would not be very pleasant. And also, I'm a pretty private person when it comes to how I want to die. I don't want to die in front of, thousands of people all chanting for me to get my, like, head chopped off or something. But, yeah, I respect the pick a lot more than slow cutting for sure. Wait. Well, I just have one question.
Yeah.
So when you finally get grappled by the gladiator, and like Julius Caesar puts his thumb down to mean that like he can kill you.
Or Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix puts his thumb down to indicate that like, yeah, this gladiator is gonna end your life now.
Yeah.
Do you say, hang on, just like tie me up to that post over there and like cut me really slowly? Is that like what you're gonna say, or?
No, because you're like mixing mediums here, like slow cutting. It's for a long time. It's a drawn out process. That's a part of it. I feel like you would learn to appreciate it, as horrible as that may sound. Where like in your Coliseum, you're fighting a gladiator, and then when your adrenaline is going, you want it to be quick. You want it to be, full force. This is what we're going for. We're ending this right here, right now.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that. All right, for my next pick. It's a little bit controversial. I don't know if it's exactly...
Oh, controversial for the execution draft?
Well, it's controversial in that I'm not sure if you would categorize it as capital punishment, but I put walking the plank. Because it's something that pirates do, or at least that's like what people think of it, which is not like a society onto their own that's like administering a punishment. It's like just like a group of people doing
culture.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still kind of see it as a form of execution where you just, like, hop off the plank.
Yeah, because they are putting you to death, essentially.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Okay, so does pick stand?
Absolutely. Agree with that. That was high on my board. I'm really bad at swimming, so it wasn't higher on my own personal board, but definitely respect the pick.
Yeah. Again, a lot of ambiguity on the way that you actually do die.
Mm-hmm.
You could drown. That's probably the most likely one. You could get eaten by a big fish.
True.
You could get sucked under the boat and like ripped apart by the barnacles.
Yeah.
You could finally swim to an island that like they're not going to leave you next to like a good one, so you're just going to like sit on an island and then starve to death or get eaten by monkeys or something.
Yeah, which also sounds horrible. Die of dehydration in salt water.
Yeah, just compared to the other one. At least, like, someone didn't think of, like, literally the most evil thing in their head.
Right.
And that's how you die. It's just, like, jumping into an ocean.
It's like, we hate you so much we want you off this boat.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I think the ambiguity in which you die is also, like, similar to the Coliseum. Like, it's kind of up to chance how you die. You have a little bit of perceived control over it. A little bit of hope, maybe. You do find an island. You don't immediately drown, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You're in control of it. And I respect that.
All right, Mo. 9th pick. Up to you. There's still the Jesus way.
Oh, I'm not taking that. I feel like I don't have that authority.
I was thinking, do I have an ego big enough to pick crucifixion?
Right. So for my 9th pick, I'm going to stick with the nautical theme. I'm going to go with keel hauling, which is when the name comes from when you're dragged along the keel. They basically tie you to a ship, throw you overboard, and let you just drag along, bumping against the boat, bumping against the barnacles on the boat, drowning, little light drowning, and head trauma. I feel like similar to walking the plank, you're out at sea, can't be that bad. You want you off the boat, obviously long and drawn out, but it's not as personal as some of the other methods. It's like they just forgot about you, throw you off the edge.
No, that one also, again, the randomness definitely picks in, but it's like a whole new world of like what could be pain is happening when you're just like being dragged along that boat.
Absolutely. But I feel like at a point with this, because it's like drawn out and it's a little bit violent,
just a little bit.
you're going to go into shock and you're going to black out a lot of it.
Yeah. One would hope.
One would hope.
All right, before I get on to the 10th pick, Owen's picks are Old Age, Firing Squad, Blowing from a Gun, Big Axe, Falling, Elephant Crush, Electric Chair, Walking the Plank. Mo's are Hanging, Lethal Injection, Seppuku, Guillotine, Stoning, Slow Cutting, Coliseum and Neil Holling. Oh, there's so many bad ones to pick.
Yeah.
From. I think I'm gonna go with Burn to Death.
Like at stake?
Yeah,
or just
at
in
the
general?
stake.
Yeah.
There's no good ones left, and like, I'm really just banking on the like smoke and asphyxiation sets in, and I just like kind of suffocate on that before I feel the burn. But I feel like
It's going to be hot no matter what.
it's gonna be hot no matter what. And after about a minute, they say like the third degree burn set in, and you don't feel anything. So it can't be like too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not a good one. But that's gonna be my 10th.
Yeah, and I feel like there's, like we've said with a few of these, there is sort of, like, you're being burned at a stake. They, like, prepared this for you in the town center or whatever. It's sort of like, it adds weight to your execution, I think, in this way.
Yeah, that's my pick.
For my final pick, I'm going to go with, because I feel like in a lot of these, when you're at the cusp of being executed, as a human being, you're trying to find all the positives involved, like no matter how dark it is. Like I would like to think that I wouldn't be giving up myself. So like any positive you can find in it. So that's why I'm choosing boiling.
Oh my god.
Just from a scientific curiosity standpoint, a lot of people claim like when you're cooking lobsters, crawdads, crabs, just throw them in the boiling water. Obviously not the most humane, you would think, but if I'm trying to find positives in an insanely dark situation, I'd be like, at least I don't know what it feels like to be boiled to death.
No, that is true. So when I was doing research for boiling, the substance that you're getting boiled in is different depending on where they do it.
Culturally.
Yeah, so it could be water, oil, tar, tallow, or even molten lead.
No, I feel like the molten metal is kind of cheating.
Why do you say that?
I feel like because you're just going to die instantly. The immense heat that a substance, an element of that form carries to be molten, as soon as you get like anywhere near it, you're just going to die.
So like you would want the molten lead metal or no?
Yeah, I would. If I was choosing for myself, I would want the molten metal.
Well, specifically lead, so you might also get lead poisoning, which would...
Oh yeah, that would really suck.
I guess you could get lead poisoning from firing squad too.
True. Something to consider for sure.
Alright, well, that's our list. Do you want to do any more picks just because I got a couple more on the list? Or
I'm good. I've laid out all of mine.
Alright, any more you want to shout out?
Scaphism, which is the act of being thrown in between two boats and just like kind of let to rot there, stuck.
Yeah.
Sort of like a 127 hours style death. Sometimes they'll pour milk and honey over you, so to increase the number of insects and bacteria that will start to like rot you while you're alive. I think just the creativity involved in that is pretty ingenious, especially for the time.
Very creative way of causing the maximum amount of pain.
Like, obviously it would suck, but...
Yeah, that one was second to last on my board.
Before 1,000 Cuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one I want to shout out is Blood Eagle. This one is, I'm not even sure if it's true or not, but this one is where is a Viking thing that if you're particularly disloyal or traitorous, they'd like cut you down the spine and then turn your ribs inside out so it looks like your rib cage are like wings coming out of your back. And like I'd like to think you just go into like shock instantly.
Probably. It's a cool visual though, for sure.
Another one that I thought was interesting, there's no Wikipedia mention of this. Backbreaking, which is a Mongol mode of execution to avoid the spilling of blood on the ground. Which,
Like, we're talking about blowing from a gun, how messy that is. This is like the exact opposite of that.
I just like the conversation of like, no, we're going to kill you this way. It's going to be extremely painful on your end. But just think about the mess.
Yeah, like we're not going to have to clean up. You know how much that sucks.
Yeah, that one was not very high on my board either. And just getting your back broken until you die. But at least there's no mess.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to burden anyone with your passing. So we've obviously spent the past few minutes shitting on some of these execution methods. So we've also come up with some of our own new execution methods that we'll share with each other. See where they'd land on our respective draft boards. Would you like to start us off?
Yeah, so I was watching the Women's World Cup
Soccer.
Soccer, yeah. And they were going to penalties, and I was just thinking, like, what if we buried people's head up, like, at the beach where they're, like, up into their neck, like, they're just their head sticking out of the ground, and then just, like, Alex Morgan kicks your head into the soccer goal.
Ooh. Into the goal. Like they'd set up a goal.
Yeah, well, that's what the penalty kick is.
Ah, I see. A death penalty kick. I like that. I think the creativity is good there. Would you feel bad for Alex Morgan having to kill you?
Yeah, I'd like the players' consent before they kick my head off.
Yeah,
also, because I want them to go all the way with it, because it'd be nice if it's just one kick instead of several.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on what crime you committed and why, and if, like, the U.S. women's national team as an organization could get behind it, of course. But, yeah, I like that. Mine's actually, the one I'm bringing up is quite similar, where only your head is exposed. You know how at a lot of arcades, they'll have, like, little punching bag and, like, a power meter, and, like, it measures how hard you can punch?
Yeah.
I think that, except it's the executee's head sticking down, and then similar to, like, a stoning where it's a group communal effort, everyone lines up with boxing gloves, and it's just your head hanging down. And they just, one at a time, punch you as hard as you can in the face.
Boxing gloves so you don't have to worry about breaking their knuckles, right?
Yeah, we want to protect the executioners at this stage. And you'd obviously die for blunt trauma. There'd be, like, some neck supports or something, so your neck doesn't immediately break from, like, some, like, beefy dude coming up and punching you really hard.
You don't want it to end before everyone's had.
Yeah, exactly. You want the person to suffer, similar to a stoning, you know. But I think it's just a little bit more fun. Maybe you can have high scores.
I'm picturing the hardcore system being like, you just ask the person how much did that hurt.
They have to rate it, and it, like, slowly gets worse over time, and then eventually passes the point where it gets just, like, indistinguishable, like you can't understand what they're saying.
Oh, yeah, that's messed up, Mo. The one that I had was, I was like, well, how could I want to go? Well, what if someone just, like, lined up a bunch of beers and, like, forced me to drink myself to death? Like,
yeah.
Like a self-OD, like, purposefully. And
like hazing, but taken too far.
Yeah, like super hazing by the U.S. government.
Yeah. Military-grade hazing.
And then I thought, wow, that would be fucking horrible.
Mine's also, another one I have is another substance-based one. It's stoning, but weed.
Oh.
Where they just inject you with THC. Like, they say no one's ever died from an overdose of marijuana, but I feel like if you tried hard enough, you could. So, a good stoning, marijuana-based, I think would be pretty cool.
I'm picturing a person that's against the legalization of recreational marijuana, but just on the basis that it's a slippery slope until the government is executing us.
With weed?
With weed.
Or it's like when the story of, like, getting caught by your dad smoking and he makes you finish the entire pack of cigarettes just so you hate it.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I have another one. You had added head chopped off with a big axe.
Yeah.
I want to add death by big axe, but with an E, where they just have, like, a huge can of axe, put you in a room, and then just spray it everywhere. Yeah. It's like being in a middle school locker room, but deadly.
Isn't AXE the British spelling of axe?
It's called Lynx in Britain. LYNX.
Oh.
Yeah. Axe is U.S. and Canada, I believe. Potentially Australia, I wouldn't know. Never been.
Yeah, they kill people over there.
They definitely do.
Well, that's the pod.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Join us next time when we talk about the best genocide.
Yeah, we set our expectations too high. Follow us on Instagram. I'm not sure what the Instagram handle is yet because I haven't made it. But
You'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Comment on who you think had the best draft.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if we missed anything you would like to add. Any cool topical, maybe some new hip ones we might not be privy to.
Yeah.
Please drop them.
Or drop our next topic.
Yeah.
And until next time. Oh, do you want to plug anything before we go?
There's a soccer game in downtown Detroit, July 30th. If you want to check that out, recommend it.
I wanna, if any, like Kanye West or Kendrick Lamar or Isaiah Rashad or Tyler the Creator listening to this podcast, can you come up with some new music? I felt like the hip hop scene has been really light this year. Really, it's just been Killer Mike, and like maybe we're just spoiled by 2021 because it was like the year after COVID and everyone dropped like a killer new
'Cause I had
album.
the time to work on it.
But 2023 has been really, really light, and 2022 also. I think yes, there was one Kendrick album last year, but I feel like we need more hip hop albums.
Yeah, I would agree. Can't go wrong with that.
But yeah, until next time, get diligent with that lawn care.
Yep. Don't let the HOA come after you. Keep that lawn tip top shape.
For sure. All right, signing off.